Welcome back guys to the SSIS training sessions. And in last session we discussed about deployment and security, right? How to provide security to the packages, and we also discussed about the different deployment methods we have for deploying SSIS packages to 3 different destinations. One is SQL Server, another one is package store, and the third one is file system. Now let me open the package first. And if you observe, it is asking for password. This is the one I set in last session to discuss, right? To explain about the security. So luckily I remember the password whatever I've given. So let me give that to log into the package. So this is the advantage if you set the package password to the package. So no one can log in and no one can execute it, right? Even if they access your desktop, they'll not have complete access to execute the packages. So in the same way, if you deploy the packages to the server with some security set, then it will be always better to safeguard the packages from wrong runs. So in this session, we are going to discuss the extension part of the deployment. In last session, as you all know, we discussed about the deployment, right? And as part of the deployment, we have not changed anything. Like whatever we have in the package, just deploying the same and using the same. Let's say I have a variable, or let's say I have a connection string. So the value of the connection string and the value of the variables, whatever I've given at the time of deployment, will be pointing to the deployment server, but not to the production server. But if I move the package to the production server, what values it is going to take? How you are going to edit it? So let's discuss a little bit about it before jumping into the concept which helps us, the objects that helps us in providing the values for the variables and the connection strings dynamically at the time of deployment. So first, let me take a pen here. Let's say this is my package. I'm developing in dev environment. Okay. And I'll be connecting to development server, SQL server or something to load the data into this one. And I'll be connecting to some dummy dummy source data. Now, when I move this package to my production environment, let's say this is my production environment, and if I move the package to either production or testing or acceptance, any environment, there are different environments, right? So if, let's say I move the package to test environment, or let's say if I directly move to production environment. So the connection string will be still pointing to the same, right? The source will be the same. Why? Because I'm taking the package, I'm just deploying it by creating the manifest file. So what I need to do? What I need to do when I have to move the package to the production? So what I need to do here is first, before taking the manifest file, change the connection strings so that it will point to production, and then create the manifest file and use the manifest file to deploy the package in the production. So automatically this guy will be pointing to this one, right? Once the manifest file is created and deployed to the production, it will be good. And if you in development, what it will be pointing to? Still it will be pointing to the same production. So you need to change back to the development environment to continue with your new developments in the same package. So if you observe, this is pretty risky, and this is not the best option, right? Always, let's say you want to deploy to many servers, and always you have to change the server name, blah blah blah, and so on. So it's always headache. And also the variable, right? Let's say you want to change the variable based on the month or something. You want to pass the variable, or the variable value will be changing very frequently, and you want to configure it, or you want to provide it even after deploying to the production. So how can you do that? So you cannot do that. It won't give you the flexibility to modify the values of the variables as well as the properties of the variables and connection strings after moving to the while moving to the different environments. So the option that we have for doing the same is package configurations. Actually, we already discussed about these package configurations when we discussed about execute package task. That was in video number 9, which got corrupted and not uploaded to the site. So you might not have practiced it. So in in execute package task, this is the one. While calling the child package and to make use of the variable that is available in the parent package in child package, we used package configurations. So what is package configuration? The one which provides you an option to change the values of the properties at runtime. That is package configurations. That is the main purpose of the package configurations. So these package configurations will have properties, property and value pair. Just like, let's say, for variable, value is a property and some value will be there for the property. In the same way, for connections, if you take the connection string, the initial catalog is a property and value will be there for initial catalog. In the same way, the server is a property and the name will be there, the value will be there for the server. So for every property, there will be a value, right? So these configurations will hold the property and value pair. Okay, so you'll get clear picture when we start creating package configurations, and we'll start discussing about different types of package configurations that are available with the basic knowledge that you got from the discussion now. So let me erase the drawings here. Now, by default the package configurations will be disabled in every package. I created two packages here. That is package 3, one with the name package 3 and another one with the name package 4. And let me take package configurations, right? By right clicking on the page or by going to the exercise menu here, you can go to the package configurations. So if you check this, that means you are enabling the package configurations option. So you are going to make use of the package configuration option. So if you want to add a new package configuration, you need to click on add. Okay, click on next, and here you can see what are the different types of configurations that are available in SSIS package configurations. We have 5 different types. One is XML configuration file, second one is environment variable, and the third one is registry entry, and the fourth one is parent package variable, and the fifth one is SQL Server. So it is nothing but these are the 5 different locations where you are going to save the property value pair. From where you are gonna have the property value pair and gonna use in the deployment or after deployment in the production or in any environments. I mean to say at runtime. So let me show you an example of XML configuration file first. So I want to create a configuration type of XML file. So I selected the option first one and specify configuration settings directly. That means where you want to store the property and value pairs. I want to store in the XML file, and the path I'm giving here, and the path I'm giving the name as XML config file. Okay, click on save and click on next. We will discuss about the next option in a couple of minutes. So I selected the path where the configuration details, the property value pairs will be saved. Click on next. And here, this is the place you have to specify what are all the properties that you want to set as part of that, as part of the XML file, the configuration file. So I want to have the variable, and remember you are not going to give for complete object. The selected object has no attributes. You should not give at complete variable level. You should select either the name or the value or something like that. Read only option, true or false, you can set it. By default it is false, you can set it as true, something like that. So most of the cases you will be passing value to the variable, right? So the default value that is present for this particular one is testing BBYHUMA. This is the value that is present. I don't know what that means. I've given some junk value. So this is the default value, and I'm asking the server to provide me the flexibility to change the value at runtime. Okay, click on next, and configuration file, I'll name it as XML config. Click on finish, and you can see XML config is added, and this is the path where the file will be stored. If I click on OK, Now let me go to the project folder and see what that XML file is having. So this is the project folder. This is the path I have given. I can set to any path, but I have given this path. So and this is the file, XML config file. And I'll open it with Internet Explorer to see what are all the properties that I have selected is properly listed here or not. And you can see there is only one configuration, and the configuration value type is string. The value type that you can pass for that one is string, and slash package.variables of variable.property of value. This is what I want to change dynamically. This is what I have selected, right? User value variable is the variable name, and in that the properties value I want to edit at the time at runtime. So the default value is testing BY HUMA. So this is the package configuration in XML format, XML configuration file. So if you select more than one, like let's say connection string, you will have all the stuff here. Let me add the connection string to the same. So for adding the for editing the existing one, you need to go to the same package configurations and click on edit and click on next. Leave it as is, and I want to give connection string. See, this is the SQL Server connection string. I want to give server name dynamically. Currently by default it is ./SQL dev, and I want to give initial catalog, which means database name. So the database name is AdventureWorks DW, which is given as default value. So this is how you can set the value of the connection strings also dynamically. Let's say you are moving the package to production. You will not be pointing to the same database what you are pointing in the development environment. You need to change it, then you need to change it, right? So if you don't have option to change it, or if you need to edit the package to change it and then deploy, then that is not the best option. So these XML configurations will provide you flexibility to edit the same at runtime. Let me show you the XML package, XML config file now. You can see this is holding AdventureWorks initial catalog property. The default value is this one, and server name property, the default value is this, and variable value property, and the default value is testing BBY HUMA. Now I have three. Okay, what I'm gonna do here is, and this script task is using just the variable whatever I've given there. So if I execute it, let's see what it is gonna return. Let me execute the package, and it is showing testing by HUMA. So this is fine. Now what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna edit this XML config file. Open with Notepad, and instead of testing by HUMA, I'm gonna give only testing and save the file. Now what will be the value that it is gonna pop up? This package is gonna pop up. Is it testing or testing by HUMA? What's your guess? By the time you guess that, the output will be shown. So if you see, I have not changed anything in the package, but still the value is changed. The value I have changed. See, this package will set the reference to the configuration file, and it will read the values from the configuration file instead of taking the default values that we have given. So it gives us flexibility to provide the values at runtime for many properties that are present in the package, like connection strings, variables, and so on. Now let's see the next step, what we can do with these XML configurations. Let's say let me take the deployment utility. Okay, I set it to true. Let me deploy it. Let me rebuild it. Rebuild all succeed. Now let me go to bin folder, and you can see deployment folder. In that package 3, package 4, and also this is the SSIS training. This is the manifest file. These three were coming earlier. Now this configuration file is also coming. So if you deploy the package, click on S, and let me deploy it to SQL Server. Click on next, and I'll select a direct one, direct SSIS packages, no new folders created inside that. Click on next, and this package 3 is having password, so let me type the password. Click on OK. Click on next, and all the dependencies, like let's say this configuration file is a dependency. This one, the config file is a dependency for the SSH packages. So it is saying all the dependencies will be stored in this folder. So I've taken the path, I've copied the path just for our reference. Click on next, and the package is, see, while before it finished the package in copying, it gives us option to provide the values if I want to change the values like dynamically. Let's say I'm moving it to production, I can change it here itself directly. This option was not there, right? So this is the package configuration, XML config file dot DTS config. So this file is providing me an option to change the values at runtime. At this point, you can change what is the config. Let's say this is not SQL Dev. Let's say this is dot, that is localhost, and this is not AdventureWorks TW. This is AdventureWorks. So it will take the same. This is not testing. This is training. Okay, I've changed a couple of values and click on finish. Now let's see where the XML configuration file is saved. The XML configuration file is saved in the given the path. I have copied the path while it was given there. So if you see, the XML config file is here. The same XML config file in the same path what it has taken, like all the dependency files will be stored here, right? So the same path I found the the XML config file, the DTS config file is copied. Now let's connect to SQL Server Management Studio and see whether the package is installed properly or not with the new values, whatever the value that I have passed at the time of deployment. So let me take integration services, connect, and stored packages in MSDB. Here it is, and I don't see the packages. One second. Did it finish installation or? One second, guys. Sorry guys, I've given a different path here, you know, right? I am connecting to instance, so it should be SQL Dev. So that was the mistake. Now let me connect. See here you can see the test folder and all is showing. Let me set SSH packages here. Let me click on next. I have to give the password. So that's my mistake. I have given wrong instance. So click on next. Click on next. Next. Here it will ask me to give the values. If I want to change the property values, let me change it to AdventureWorks, and let me change to SQL Server instance. Sorry, localhost instance, and I'll change it to training by Rupesh. Click on next and click on finish. Now if you connect to SQL Server through integration services, and you can see package 3 and package 4 is deployed. And let me execute package 3. Let me run the package 3 and see what value it is going to show. So this is the package 3, and if I execute it, it's asking for password, and you can see training by Rupesh. Whatever the value that I have given at runtime is taken. Now this value is coming from where? This value is coming from XML config file. This is the file. Now if I go here and change it, you can change it always, like sorry, this is not the file. Where is the file? I stored it to this folder. So this is the file. Let me edit it and let me change the value here. You can see the value is training by Rupesh. I'll name it as Rupesh Valluru. Okay, this is the new value I'm passing. Oops, I don't have access, guys. Let me give access to this file first before saving it. Don't save. Let me give access to this. Security, Rupesh, edit. I'll give full control. Okay. Now let me edit it. So here I'm changing the value to Rupesh Valluru and I've saved it. Oops. Just give me a minute, guys. Okay, let me close this. It is still accessing this. That is why it might be creating problem. So let me close this guy and let me save the file. And still the same access problem. So finally I am able to save the file. I changed the path, I reinstalled it and I changed the path, and sorry for the delay cost, and I don't have proper rights for the particular folder that I was I initially deployed the XML config file. So what I've done is I changed the destination path, and you can see the value I've changed to Rupesh Valluru. So it was like only training by Rupesh earlier. Now I've changed it to training by Rupesh Valluru. Now let me execute the package and see whether this guy will pull the fresh record, new value from the from the configuration file or not. So this is the password. By mistake, I feel like by mistake I've set it. Every time I need to type that. And you can see the value has become training by Rupesh Valluru. So the value of the parameter is changing dynamically at the time of runtime. So whatever I set here in the configuration file, the same will be shown there. And here you can see it is training by Rupesh Valluru. In the same way, I can change the database name, I can change the server name, whatever the properties that I have added to the configuration file, XML configuration file, all those things I can change it. Now let me edit it and change the value to a new one. Let's say I don't want this, I'll just give training. Okay. So now the property value, if you see, it is only training by a dummy or by a trainer. Now after saving this, let me go and execute the package again. So click on execute and you can see training by a trainer. So the values can be changed by using the package configurations, which we have not discussed earlier, right? In last deployment session, what we have done is just deploying and making use of the variable values that is defined in the package. In the same way, the kind of connections that is defined in the package. So here, using the package configurations, it gives you immense power, like to change the values of the parameters or the connection strings at the time of runtime. So this is one of the beautiful, and without this, don't expect a package to be deployed unless it is a dummy trial package. So all the properties should be configured in such a way that the values of those properties should be dynamic, like connection string as well as variables, and there are so many other properties which you can set. So this is about how to use XML configuration file. And let's say I'm going back to the package. And first let me do one thing, that is removing the security for this. Okay, I'll set it as user key so that it will not ask for any password while deploying. Now what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna create one more configuration file. It's like for every package you have to create one XML configuration file. So for the configuration file will be different for different packages. So here I'm doing for the package 4. So I'm adding one more XML configuration file, and I'll set the path as XML config file 2. The one is already there for package 3, file 2 here. So click on next, and what properties you want to set. There is a variable here in this one too. There are two variables. One is variable and another one is variable 1. So let me use variable 1 here. The value is t something, and some dummy value I've given, and also variable. I want to change the values of these two. Click on next, I'll name it as XML config 2. Click on finish. Now let's see the configuration files. Let's go to the project folder and see what file, whether the file is saved properly or not. You can see this is XML config file which I have defined for package 3, and this is XML config file which I have defined for package with the for the package with the name package 4. Let me edit and see what all it is taking in. It is taking value of the variable, and second thing is variable 1 value. So these two can be configured. Now what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna deploy the package now. Deploy both the packages, and let's see how many XML config files will be stored in, copied to the folder that we're gonna set at the time of deployment. So for that, let me rebuild it, and let me go to the deployment folder, and here you can see package 3, package 4, this is manifest file, and XML config file and XML config file 2. The second one is for the package 4. Now let me execute it. Let me deploy this solution to the server. I'm selecting SQL Server deployment, click on next, SQL_dev, and the package path will be, let me set it as test folder, click on next, and here I'll set the path as C drive and FTP to store all the dependent files. Click on next, and here you can see XML config file. It is giving me again the options to change, and I can change for the another XML config file also. It's a drop down where if I select any particular file, it will give you an option to change the values. I'll give it as test and I'll give it as best. Click on next and click on finish. Now the packages are deployed. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna execute package 4 now, that is present in the test folder. Let me execute it and see what value it is gonna push. I set the values as test and best, right? Let's see, it is pulling test. So it is showing test. Now if I go and check the values in the FTP folder which I have set, the package configurations, you can see both the package configurations are available, and let me change the value from test to testing. So a simple change. Now let me execute the package again. It should show testing. So the value is being pulled from package configuration file at the time of execution, the runtime. So this is the beautiful advantage that package configurations provides to the developers. Now let's see, there are a couple of other options, right? What are the different other options, and at the end we can discuss what is the most frequently used one. Okay, so before going to that, let me do one thing. Let me delete all the packages and the folders from the server. I mean, it's creating a lot of mess. Even this, it has a folder, so let me delete this first. I think it has packages. This is headache here. It will take time, forget it. I'll do one thing. I'll create a new folder and I'll use that folder from now onwards. But I'll delete these packages or whatever it is available that under that MSDB folder. Delete package, and I don't need this. Okay, and let me create a folder. I'll name it as config. Oops, sorry. I think it's a spelling mistake. Okay, so I'm gonna make use of this folder for the remaining stuff. And here I'm back to the same package 3, and let me make use of the different package configuration options available instead of apart from XML configurations. So for doing the same, what I need to do here is just simply go to the package configurations. As I'm not gonna use this, let me remove it and let me click on add and next. And what is the next one available? The next one available is environment variable. So it will be once defined for the whole environment. It is not taking it won't take any XML or something like that. So environment variable, the major disadvantage is always you have to refresh the page or refresh the package whenever you change the value. Before discussing more about this environment variable configurations, let's see how to create that environment variable first and where it sits. So to create an environment variable, you need to go to My Computer and go to the Properties and go to the Advanced System Settings. And here, when it opens, you can see environment variables, the variables that are common throughout the environment, throughout the system. So that is called environment variables. And here you can see this is the system variables. That means whatever the variables that has been used or created by the system. Okay. And if you go to the package here again, let me close the remaining stuff which I don't need anymore. And I need this. I don't need FTP for now, at least. I don't need desktop folder now. Okay. So these are the system variables, and here you can create a new variable. Let's say I'm going to create a variable called variable value. So that means I'm going to store the variable value here. By default, I'm setting the value of I am a trainer. Okay. So now a environment variable is created. So let me click on OK, and okay, this is done. Now, if I select this, this will not be available here. Whatever the environment variable that you have created will not be available here. So you can see the where value is not available. So to make it available, what you need to do is you need to refresh the package. Like you need to close it and open it. You need to close the environment and open it again. So let me close it and let me open this is only for environment variables I'm saying, okay. It will not refresh automatically. That's the problem with the environment variables. So let me select this and let me go to the package configurations here. And let me remove the existing one which I don't need. Click on next, click on next, and here I'm going to select environment variable, and the where value is available now. So click on next, and I want to pass the value to the variable with the name variable. So I'm selecting it, click on finish and click on close. Now if I execute this package, even though the value that I have given for the variable is available here, if you see the variables, the value I have given for this particular one is some testing by human or something. Sorry, it's testing, but I have given a different value in the environment variable, that is I am a trainer. So if I execute this, let's see from where it is going to get the value. So it is getting the value from the environment variable. So I don't, in the same way how I have installed the package for XML configuration, you can install the package here. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to change the environment variable. Okay. And I'm going to change it to on MSBI. Let me click on OK. And I saved it. And I need to stop. Let me rebuild it. Rebuild all succeeded. Let me go to the folder. Here it is. And you can see the first XML config file is gone. Why? Because this is not, the first package is not using configuration file. It is using environment variable for getting the value dynamically from at the time of runtime. Now let me deploy this package. Let me deploy this solution to the server. So I'm selecting SQL Server deployment .sql dev instance, and I'll deploy it to package config. Click on next, and I'll store it to the same folder, C drive, FTP, click on next, and here it will not show environment variables to update. We cannot edit the environment variable values. So what you can do here is you can change the XML configuration values. So I don't want to change anything. Click on next and finish. Now let me go to this folder and let me execute the package 3 and let's see whether it gets the value from the environment variable or not. So the value that I have given is I'm trying to run MSBI, and you can see the value is being pulled from environment variable. So this is how you can make use of the environment variable, and the major disadvantage with the environment variable is for every property in SSIS, let's say variable value is a property, connection string server name is a property, connection string initial catalog is a property, connection string username is a property, and let's assume I have 20 connections, and for everything I want to pass connection string from dynamically. I can't make it using environment variables. The reason is for every property we need to create one environment variable. So that is a risk, right? So that is very, very big headache. So people don't go for environment variables if they have more properties to be configured or for which the values needs to be passed at the time of runtime. So the best one in that case is XML configurations. So this is how you can make use of environment variable configuration type to pass the value at the time of runtime to the properties of SSIS, like variables and connection strings. But always remember, whenever you are using environment variable and if you are changing the value directly, it won't change it here. You need to restart the service. Okay, let's say IS and SQL Server services here. At least IS service needs to be restarted. So that is also one disadvantage using environment variable. So now let's discuss the next option that we have here, and I'll remove this environment variable. I don't want it here now. Let me remove it, and let me modify the same variable property using a different configuration type. And the third one is registry entry. It's again the same. The registry entry. Do you remember we have gone through? We went through this registry entry to modify some value. How many of you guys remember that? I think no one. Let me talk about this again. So the registry entry, we use this to modify the Excel limit. When we're discussing about Excel connection manager, it takes only top 8 rows to find out the data types of each and every column. So that time I said we can change it by going to the registry entry. So let me go to registry entry by typing edt32 in run command. It will open the registry editor where you have current user, and we made some change here, local key and so on. We change for Excel, right? Excel configuration stuff. Here, to create a new registry key which you can make use of, what you need to do is you need to create a key first. Let's say I'll create a key with the name SSIS. So this is the key I've created. And once the key is created, you need to create a value for that, string value. The name should be value, okay? And give some value for that. Let's say there are 10 students in this session, okay? This is the value I am giving for the particular key that I have created, registry key I have created. So this is where and how you can create the registry key. Always remember, you have to first create a key and then the string value for the key that you have created, like this. And it should be value, and the same thing will be called there. And remember, the name I have given is SSIS, which I am gonna use here. So I'm going for registry entry, and you have to give directly the name of the registry key, whatever you have given. I have given it as SSIS, and click on next. So for which property I want to get the value from registry key? I want to get the value for variable value. So let me select the variable value again. Click on next, and I'll name it as registry config. Click on finish. Now I can either deploy and check it, or I can directly execute it here and see, just like I have seen. I have shown you for the remaining two, right? Let me execute it here and see. And you can see what is the value it is getting is there are 10 students in this session. So this value is not from here. Whatever the default value that I have given, the value is coming from the registry key. Now I'm going here. I'll say 15 students in the session, and let me stop it and execute it again. So execute it, and you can see there are 15 students in this session. So just like how I've done for the last one, that is environment variable, I can deploy the same to the server. So rebuild, all succeeded. Let me go to the deployment folder, SSIS. Click on next. SQL development, click on next. Dev, and let me select the same folder, package config. Click on next, and let me set it to my computer, C drive, FTP. Click on next. I don't want to change anything for this. Click on finish. Now let me go to SQL Server. Let me refresh it once. Run the package. So not like environment variable, you don't need to restart the service every time whenever you change the value for that. You can see there are 15 students in this session. Let me close this guy, and let me simply go to this and change the value of the, where is that, registry key. So I'll change the value to, this is not good number. Let me click on OK, and let me go back here and click on execute. And you can see there are 15 students in this session. This is not a good number, not good number. So whatever I'm changing there, immediate effect will be there, and this is how you can make use of registry key, and deployment can be done easily in this fashion. So this is, I showed you, right, in both the cases, using the bits environment, how the value will be changed, and also by executing after deploying to the server. So this is about using registry key as package configuration. And here if you observe the same problem, for every value you need to create one registry key. How many you are going to create if you want to set 30, 50, 70 properties? It's very risky. It's a very difficult task, right? So this is not the best bet if you have more properties to be configured for package configurations. Now let's see the next type. For the next type, I think I can't do it for this one. Why? Because the next type is parent variable type. So if you see the parent variable type, so this is my parent. So this can be used only when you have parent-child relationships, parent-child packages. How can you get that? Just by adding execute package task and calling the next one. So variable, and here I'm giving path to this, and I'm calling sorry, first let me set it to file system, and let me select the path wherever it is, existing file. What is the package that I want to run is package 4. Click on OK and click on OK. Now if I go to the package 4, this will become child package to the parent one, that is parent package 3. Now let me see whether there is a variable with the same name here or not. Variables, already there is a variable with the same name. I don't want this here. Let me delete it first. Okay, and let me see what variable it is using here. It is using variable, oops, okay, fine, let me rename it. So this package will be taking variable value t and show it in the script task. Let me execute the package once just to make you guys confirm that it is working as expected. Oops, I think it has package variables. One second, guys. It has package configurations here. Let me remove it. So now let me show you what I'm going to do here is whatever the value that I'm going to pass to the parent, that will be inherited to the child by using the package configuration. So the parent package here is package 3 and child package here is package 4. So package 3 will be having some value for a variable, right? Let's say this variable here, there are some, this session, some value is there. So the same value I'll try to get it in the child package using the package configurations. So what I'm going to do here is go to package configurations, and if I have this, this will be overwritten. So let me add it so that it will be the next one. And here I'm going to parent package variable. And what is the parent package variable? This value to be assigned to this one. Whatever the value of this particular variable, this will be changed by the value of the parent package. Now let me execute the package on the whole. Let me execute the parent package, that is package 3. So first it will execute the script task and it will pop up the message. There are 15 students in the session. This is not good number. Why? Because these package configurations that I have configured for key, right? Registry key, and the same value is being pulled. And if I click on OK, and it is still showing testing by human. Why the hell it is? Let me check. So you can see it is showing there are 15 students in this session. This is not a good number. So the same thing, whatever the value that is being inherited from the parent package. So I've executed the parent package and the value, there are 15 students in this session, and the child package is having testing by human. So if I execute the parent package, it will go, and I mean when the child package comes into picture, it will pull the value from the parent package. Like this is the master package script task, parent package script task, and this is the child package script task, which is having the value. Now let's see one thing. What will happen if I change the value here, which is being pulled for parent package? For parent package, the value is being pulled from registry entry, right? Registry key. Now I stopped it and let me execute this and see what will happen. So the first script task, this one in the parent package, will pull the record from the top one, and the same value will be passed to the child. So this is how you can make use of parent variable configuration to pull the value or to inherit the value from the parent packages. Now let's quickly do one thing. Let's quickly deploy it. Now there is no XML config at all. Even for the second package, for first package it is registry key, and for second package it is parent variable. Now let me redeploy it quickly and go to the output folder, bin deployment, and you can see no XML config files here. Both are gone. Why? Because it's not using the XML config file. So let me click on manifest file to install the same, and let me select SQL Server, and let me select the same configurations which I am doing from couple of times. So I'll go for pack something, click on next. Let me select the path, click on next, and there is no configuration change request here. Click on finish. Now if I go to the parent package package variable, parent package, that is package 3, and if I execute the package, it will get the value from registry key and then pass it to the child package as configured in the package configurations. There are 15 students in the session, and there are 15 students in the session from the next package. Now let me try it here by editing it. I think I closed it. Oops, I closed it. So if you edit it, it will be the same. If you modify the value of the registry key, the same thing will be shown in the packages at the runtime. It will pull the value at the runtime and it will show the values in the execution package execution. So this is the 4 different types of package configurations, and the 5th one is SQL Server type. That means the data will be stored, the key and value pair will be stored in SQL Server. Let's see quickly how we can do that. So for the same, I'm gonna use the parent package, and these configurations I'm gonna set it for, instead of registry key, let me remove this registry key and let me add a new package configuration which will pull the data from which will store the data in SQL Server and pull the data from SQL Server. So I'm connecting to the new instance, SQL Server DW. This is fine. Let me click on OK. And if there is already a configuration table, then fine, or else you can create a configuration table by click on new. If you see create table configurations, and it will have these 4 columns, and if you already have, then no problem. Click on OK. And filter, this is very important one. So if you have 10 packages and each package pointing to the same configuration file, SSIS configuration table, then there should be some uniqueness, right? Like primary key column like one, which says that, okay, this information is coming from the particular package. So these configurations related to one package. So I'll show you an example for that. I'll say parent package. These configurations, whatever I'm going to set here, are related to parent package. So click on next, and I'm going to set variable, and I'll set the value of the variable, and I have connection string also. I can set if I want to set initial catalog and server. So I've selected 3, click on next and click on finish. And if I click on close, you can go and check whether the table is created or not. Let me connect to database engine, connect, and it's AdventureWorks DW database, which I have selected. And let me write the query, select star from SSIS configurations, and if I execute it, you can see 3 different. One is 4 columns. One is parent package, which says that these belongs to the package 3, and second one is configured value. What property these guys? What is the value for the property that he has configured? And this is the property, and what is the data type of that? So the property is server name, and the default value is SQL_dev, and the initial catalog is AdventureWorks DW, and the string value is there are so many students in the particular one. Now, if I execute this particular package, it will get the data from the particular. It will get the data from the SSIS configurations for all those properties that are configured, that are part of the configuration. Now let me go to the package 4, and I don't want to get the value from parent here. So package configurations, I don't want to get the value from parent. I'm adding it. So click adding a new one, click on next, and selecting the SQL Server, and let me select the same connection, like same database. This is fine. Click on OK, and let me select the same table, SSIS configurations. It is already available. I'll name it as child package. So click on next, and I want to store the properties. I want to provide an option to modify the properties like value and also the connection strings if you want. I don't want anything here. And let's see whether any property can be changed in the script task or not. So script task property, you can set it as disable and all, whatever you want. It by default it is false. So let me click on next and finish. Now let me close this guy and go back to SQL Server and execute it and see whether these 3 or 2 whatever I've added is created or not. You can see the child package. These 2 configurations belongs to child package, and it's a boolean value. By default it is false. You can change it to true if you want, and this is the remaining are string values. So if I execute the packages now, package 3 and package 4, it will show the default values whatever it is there. So the first default value for this one is there are 15 students in this session and there are 15 students in this session. Oops, it is still going for a parent variable package. So this is a real mess. So let me delete it. I think I mean, there is some problem with the software installation. I have, once I disable it and then going for enable, then only it is doing it for me. So let me enable it. There is some cache or some problem here in my machine. So let me select SQL Server table and let me select SSIS configurations, child package, click on next, reuse existing, finish, close. Now let me execute the package 3 and see whether it is getting values from the database or not. See this configuration, it was still going for the parent variable. That's the problem. That is why I disabled it and I have created it again. And still, if you see, this guy is going to get from the parent variable here. So I have to close. I mean, let me remove the cache first. Okay. So now I clear the cache and you can see it's getting the value from the database. Now let me change the value in the database and see whether it will impact, whether it will change the value of the value that it is popping in the package. So update SSIS configurations, set configured value is equal to stupid, sorry, it's a single quotes, where what I can say, package path. I'll set the package path. That will be better one. Path is equal to this one. You can see one row affected, and if you want to see the values, you can see the values here. It has been changed to stupid. And now let me re-execute the package 3 and package 4. So if I execute package 3, obviously it will go to package 4 also. So there are 15 students in this session and the second value is coming as stupid, and the value is being pulled from the database, SQL Server database, which we have configured. And now let's quickly rebuild it and let me send it to, let me deploy it into the SQL Server once again, just to check whether the changes are applied after deployment too. Just for quick check. SQL_dev, and I'm selecting the same folder. Click on next, 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 and finish. So here, before executing this, I'm gonna change the value to stupid fellow. Okay, the value is changed. Let me refresh it and let me execute package 3, which will run package 4 also. So you can see the value is being pulled from database. You can see it is stupid fellow. So this is how we can make use of SQL Server Configuration Manager to configure the properties of variables and connection strings. So we have discussed about whatever we have discussed, all these fall into direct configuration, direct package configuration. There is a concept called indirect. So the only difference is, what the problem people will feel is, let's say I'm connecting to SQL Server here, right? So when I connect to SQL Server to define the package configurations here, let's say this package configurations I'm defining here, saying that's ./SQL dev/AdventureWorks. Even this one needs to be changed at the time of deployment, right? So even this is not constant. This will be changed, right? So how we can handle it? Let's say an XML file, okay, an XML configuration file. it will be it will follow different paths. It will be stored in different paths in different folder in different environments. Let's say I'll tell you an example. Let me take an Excel. Let's say this is my XML config file. I want to move it to 3 different destinations. One is test environment, another one is production environment, and the third one is acceptance environment. All these things, the same files. But if you see in test environment, it will be C config test is the folder. And here C config acceptance is the folder. Here C config, what is the third one? Prod is the folder. So if you see, all these three are having 3 different folder names, and how you are going to define the connection string by taking it. See, so this is one of the problem, and even the another one is, if you see here you are hard coding the path. You are setting some path, right? So saying that the value will be the file will be stored here and blah blah blah. So what people says is, well, we can go for indirect configurations to achieve that, even the database name and all. This is an XML example. In the same way, you will have a database, right? Here it will be localhost, and the database name is something. Here it will be some other server name. Let's say AWC123 is the server name, and the database name is this. Here if you see, the server name will be different. BTW dot, this is the database name. So this configuration value also needs to be changed, and this should be also dynamically configurable. That is what people says. You can't configure these values if you're not including it in your package configurations, right? So what people suggest is, you can go for indirect configuration. The indirect configuration is nothing but you have the same XML configuration or SQL configuration, whatever it is. Let's say here in this case you have, oops, I think I have to close this and open. Hopefully it will be there. Okay, it's gone. So you will be giving the database name, right? So what is the database name you are going to connect? Let's say here in this case, this is the database name and this is the table name what you are going to connect. If you see the second option, instead of going for this, the connection string and this configurable table, you can see the configuration located is stored in an environment. So the complete connection string will be available in this environment variable. So whatever the connection string value that you want will be available here. In the same way, if you select an XML file, okay, to specify the same, and instead of giving the path here, you can pull the path from the environment variable. So you are making the path of the configuration file, XML configuration file or SQL, also dynamic one. So let me show you how people will do that. Okay, first what they will do is, they'll create an XML configuration file like this, save, click on next, reuse existing, click on finish. The XML configuration file is created. Now once created, they'll go to the folder, they'll take this XML file and they'll copy wherever they want to. Let's say they want to copy it to C drive, FTP folder. They have copied it here. Now instead of giving this path, what they will do here is, they'll go to the package configurations and they'll remove it simply. Why? Because that is no more available. They just created it to get what are the properties they want. If you create a configuration file, XML configuration file, what you will get? You will get the properties. The properties information what they want to configure. Like here in this case, you can see package connections, initial catalog, server name, and value of the property, right? So once they get that, they will copy it to the their desired destination, and they will use environment variable to get the path where the file is. So if you see XML configuration file, instead of giving the file name here, they'll go to the environment variable and they will use the variable which is holding the path of the XML configuration file. So click on OK. Now I have used the path which is present in the environment variable. Now if I change anything in the XML file, the effect should be in the package. Okay. Before that, as I told you, let me execute it first and see whether the value testing is showing properly. The value that is present in the package variable, XML configuration file is testing. Oops. It's creating problem. Let me close it and open once to read the value from the environment variable properly. Okay. I've done one mistake here. I need to change the path of the variable, right? It is still, I think it is still some value that I have given. Environment variable, let me check that. See, this is the variable. This is not a path, right? So that is why it is taking the default value. If this path is not proper, so it has to take the value and it is taking the default value. The path is, let me take the path from here where I have copied the file. C:/FTP XML config file, XML config file dot DTS config. So once you have changed the variable value, I have changed the variable value here pointing to the new the XML config file which I have copied to folder FTP. I need to restart this. As I told you, this is whenever you change the value of the environment variable, you need to restart the package so that it will pull the new value from the environment variable. So let me start it here. So it's loaded. Let me execute the package now. And you can see it is pulling the data from the XML configuration file. And now let's see what will happen if you change the value in the XML configuration file which is referred in the environment variable. I'm changing the value from testing to testing by tester. Okay, the value is changed. Now let me re-execute the package by going to the package 3. Execute the package. And you can see whatever the value that I have given in the XML config file. Actually, I'm not using XML config file here. I've created the XML config file and I moved it to some location and I'm using environment variable configurations, package configurations to refer to the XML config file, whatever it is available in some location. And you can see it clearly here if you go to the package configuration. There is no XML configuration. Sorry, XML configuration path. There is no XML configuration path. Its path is referred by environment variable. So this is called indirect. It is not directly pointing to the XML path. Now, if you see the XML configuration file path, if you use it, is not safe and secure. It's just an XML. Let's talk a couple of advantages and disadvantages. So the XML config file, if you see, anyone can go and edit it if people have access. So that is one major. But the beautiful advantage is you can have more than one property, like hundreds of parameter properties and so on. You can have it in the XML. Environment variable, it's again whenever you are deploying your package to different servers, whatever the environment variable that you have defined or used here, the same thing needs to be created. Remember that the same thing needs to be created there in the server, whatever the server you are moving. Let's say you created and used one environment variable with the name var_value, the same thing needs to be created and the value needs to be passed before you deploy the package to the production or any other environment. In the same way, registry key, you have to create the registry key before you move with the code. If you don't, it will go and check for the registry key or environment variable. If it is not available, then what it will do is it will take the default value for the variables. If you don't define any environment variable in the production or test environment to which you are moving your packages, then it will go for default values. The fourth one is parent package variable. It will not have any impact. Always your parent package will be with deployment, right? So it won't create any impact. And it is also, if you see parent package variable and environment variable and registry key, it's only one per one-to-one mapping. If you create one environment variable, you can have only one property used for that. In the same way, if you want to change for 100, then you have to create 100 environment variables, which is not the best idea. And here, people don't go with environment variable. And the next one is SQL Server. Whenever you are done with SQL testing and all in the test environment, what you need to do is you need to have the same table, whatever the table you have, the same table and the data to be moved into your test or production environments. Why? Because it will be pointing to the same table, right? So you need to move this table also to the production or test environments or any other environment to which you are moving the data packages. So if you observe, these are the different types of package configurations, and I have taken dummy packages, and that led to a lot of confusion, like package 3 and package 4. This is not proper naming conventions and so on. But what I suggest is you guys better go through the video a couple of times and practice it. And what is the use and power of package variables? Sorry, package configurations. Just try to get that concept, and if you have any queries, you can always ping me, and I'll be available to answer your questions. So this is it about package configurations, and we'll discuss about executing the packages. Now we have discussed about how to deploy and how to make use of package configurations at the time of deployment. Next session, let's see how to execute the packages, either from bits. You know how to execute in bits, right click and execute the package. You also know how to execute in SQL Server Management Studio. It's just right click and run the package. And we will discuss how to execute using dtexec utility.exe file, and how to configure the packages to run automatically using SQL Server Agent. This is a very important one, SQL Server Agent, how to configure, how to execute the package, and while executing, how to pass the values to the packages and so on. So that's it for today, and have a good day, guys. Catch you tomorrow in next session. Thank you. Bye-bye.